How do I find a sponsor for my blog? Now, I've been asked that question a couple of months back in Cura, and rather than maybe sending you over to my profile over there, I would rather keep you on my own platform. So that's why I'm covering it into today's episode. Now, if this doesn't interest you, just skip on to the next episode, and I'm sure I'm probably talking about something better for you in the next episode. But I just thought I'd go back over this topic because there's a bit of a learning lesson in it. Now, if you are looking for a sponsor for your blog, you're probably well aware you probably need it to be attractive to that person. There's nobody who's going to throw cash into something that isn't worth their while doing. You know, as I often said, everybody is going around with a little mantra in our heads: what's in it for me, what's in it for me. So if you are looking for a sponsor for your blog, think about that for a moment. What is the other person going to get out of this transaction? You know, are they going to get prominence on the first page? Are they going to get their ad or whatever in front of as many people as possible? You have to make it as inviting to them as possible. So if you are considering trying to find a sponsor, come up with, you know, a list of things that can maybe convince them that you are well worth sponsoring. Now, if you've only got maybe 2 or 3 articles on your blog, you know, I'm here to tell you, you are a little bit deluded if you think somebody is going to simply come over and sponsor you when you have very little content on it. You know, if I was going to sponsor someone now, I would probably look at it the way Seth Godin looks at it. Seth Godin will only go on someone's podcast if they have created 100 episodes. Now, the reason he said he does that, it doesn't matter how many people listen to that podcast. He said when you have somebody who has sat down and created 100 episodes of a podcast, that means that they have a good work ethic, and it probably means that in the long run they are going to continue making those podcast episodes. So that interview that Seth Godin does now will probably be heard by maybe hundreds and maybe thousands of people in the future. But he knows that he is putting his time into someone who is, you know, someone who has a good work ethic and is in it for the long game. So give that some thought then, maybe if you're looking for a sponsor. You know, I personally, like Seth Godin, I would probably only sponsor a blog that has been around for a while, someone who is showing up regularly, someone who is writing good content. You know, if you've got very poor English, or the content you're writing is just generic and doesn't inspire me at all, or, you know, I don't learn anything from it, you can't really expect me to, you know, to get out my wallet and sponsor you on a regular basis. So give that some thought. What are the kind of lists of reasons you can come up with why somebody would sponsor your blog? You know, is it because that you write regularly? Is it your page views? You know, many people view your page. Is it maybe the growing kind of web stats, the way you can show how the traffic has just completely grown and growing at a kind of you know, it's going up like at a 45-degree angle? If you can show me things like that, then that will make me consider maybe sponsoring your blog. Now, if you don't know who to reach out to, one of the things you could do is maybe just have some mock-up advertising space on your blog. So you could have maybe a kind of, I know as you're probably well aware if you've come to many blogs, you probably have like a little banner ad in the heading at the top, and then you probably have a couple of ads down the right hand column, and then you have maybe a couple of ads in the content itself. Now, if you are looking to maybe sell advertising space, or, you know, somebody sponsor your blog, what you can do is maybe come up with a little kind of a little place marker in the content saying that this area is for sale for advertisements, or it's for sale to a sponsor, and then just give your details, your email or whatever, and get them to contact you, and then you can kind of negotiate a price or whatever it is that they are willing to pay. So maybe have a couple of mock-up ads in kind of prominent positions where you are willing to put that sponsor's details to convince them that is, if they sponsor you, that is where their ads are going to be going. So they'll know straight away, you know, whether they are going to get a good, you know, a lot of the traffic is going to see that ad or whatever. So think about doing that. Maybe if you don't know who to reach out to, just create a couple of mock-up ads. Or again, even maybe just reach out on social media. Do a tweet every so often saying that you're looking for a sponsor, and, you know, anyone interested can contact you and you can give them more of the details. So maybe reach out on Facebook or whatever. Do it every so often if you are finding maybe nobody isn't getting back to you on the first time. It'll probably take a couple of times before you will probably find a sponsor, but as your blog gets popular and gets more and more traffic, you will find that you'll probably be fighting them off in the long run if you create something that is really, really, gets a lot of page views. So in the early days, you're probably going to find maybe a lot of unanswered tweets or whatever, or people just not interested in sponsoring because it's not really worth the while. It's only kind of beginning. So give that some thought, if you are looking for someone to sponsor it. Now, if you do find maybe that your blog is popular and you have a lot of readers coming back regularly, rather than looking from some kind of third party sponsor to take care of your blog, why not ask for sponsorship from your readers? Now, one of the things you can do is to go to a site called Patreon. I think that's P-A-T-R-E-O-N. I think that's how you spell it. But I'm sure if you spell it wrong, Google will point you in the right direction. Now, Patreon, what that does is that website will allow you to have fans. But what these fans can do, they can pay you a monthly fee to maybe get some kind of, it's like a membership level. So, for example, we could have the beginner level, which could be maybe $5 a month or whatever, if you wanted to price it that low. But for $5, this person might get might get to read an article before the rest of the world does. And then you might have maybe a kind of intermediate level, which could be maybe $10 a month, where people can interact with you and ask you questions, or maybe ask you to write articles on different topics. And then you might have like a kind of closer kind of community, which could be maybe $20 a month or whatever. And then you can give that community more perks or whatever. You can do maybe Facebook Lives with them or whatever. But each group kind of, as you pay more, they get more and more kind of, they can reach out to you more and have more contact with you. If that's what you wanted to do, again, do a search for Patreon. But it means that, the people who are sponsoring you are the people who are enjoying your content, and they do want you to be successful, and they probably show up regularly, rather than sponsor who may just jump from one blog today, go over to another blog tomorrow. If you have a bit of a community who are willing to support you, that might be a better way to go when you're looking for sponsorship. Go to your readers. Now, in both of those cases, while they are all good and dandy, there is a kind of negative side to it, in that if you are maybe being sponsored by someone, again, readers, or by a third party, you don't really have any control over what you do. If you imagine, if your sponsor was paying you maybe a couple of $100 a month for a prominent place on your blog, what happens if they get maybe a more prominent spot on a more popular blog, and then they kind of pull up roots and leave you, and then that income is suddenly gone? And again, then too, even though Patreon is good, but then you are kind of controlled by your audience. You can't say to yourself, well, I'm not really inspired as much about this topic that I'm on, and I'm thinking of maybe just turning off into another little niche, or going down something that I'm interested in right now. You might find maybe if your audience is paying you, they're not going to allow you to go down that way, and it's almost like you're going to have like 100 bosses, because they are going to kind of keep you on the straight and narrow, and it's going to take some of your independence and maybe some of your freedom out, because you're not really in control of your blog anymore, and it's your audience that is telling you what to do. So that might be a kind of negative side to the Patreon, and also to the other thing, the first one, where somebody is buying ads themselves, one person. If they decide to go, you can lose out on that money. Now, probably a better way, rather than looking for sponsorship, is to start creating your own kind of products and your own services, and putting those on your blog and advertising them. Unfortunately, sometimes we are a little bit slow, and sometimes when we are told something over and over again, we're kind of going, yeah, I will do that sometime, and again, I would put myself in that kind of category. For the longest time, I used to try and sell other people's products, courses. I try to be affiliate of this and that and the other, because I used to think, well, a product is beyond me, I can't do that. Who would be interested in buying anything I sell? Whereas I can see how somebody could buy a complete stranger's product but couldn't buy mine. So maybe you would be better off maybe ditching the idea of sponsorship and actually start creating your own products and selling your own products on your site, and you will find it will be more profitable in the long run. It'll give you your independence, in that if you want to maybe go off on a different topic for a couple of weeks, you're allowed to do that, because you're not under control of your audience. And again, you're not under the control of one advertiser who may pull out at some time, because you are in control of your products, You're in control of the prices, you're in control of how much money you make, and all that money can be going directly into your PayPal account. There's no third party between you and your PayPal account. You know, all the money is coming to you, you're not sharing it with anybody else, and it gives you independence to do what you want in your blog. So give that some thought today. If you are someone who maybe is looking for some kind of income stream or some kind of sponsorship for your blog, while it's all good and well, you know, having one advertiser paying you a lot every month, or given, you know, having a kind of a community that supports you, it's not as free, you know, it's not as free as you might think it is. There are kind of little kind of cons to each of those. So the third option I probably would say is the best one, but again, you're going to have to create your own products. You're going to have to sit down, make videos, write a report or whatever it is, but you will find sometimes, no matter how much of a pain it is right now, it can really pay off in the future. So maybe consider that instead of looking for sponsors, start creating your own products and services instead. So I hope I helped anybody out who maybe was thinking that at the moment, how can they make more money from their blog. Forget about the sponsorship and just start making your own products. So as always, if you'd like to find more of this great content, if you're on YouTube, hit the bell and you can subscribe to the channel. Or if you listen to this as a podcast episode, again, just hit subscribe on your device and I will send the next couple of episodes straight to you. You won't even have to do anything at all. So as always, have a great day and thanks for your time today. Take care. Bye bye.